Hello, listeners. Just some notes here from Justin on the first episode of Casual Conversations. We're not that great at podcasting, and so we have some audio issues and some quality issues within this episode that I'm just here to apologize for in advance. Additionally, Felix had the bright idea of using Bandicam to record our audio, which, very reliable software, made it cut out within 10 minutes of recording. So we had to go back and re-record a large portion of the episode. And so there's a big cut, and I just wanted to give you guys an advance warning of that so you're not too jarred when that does happen. I've edited it to make it a little more smooth, but it's still there. So I hope you guys still enjoy the episode despite its beautiful flaws. But yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. It's the International IB Baccalaureate Boys. It's your bro, Felix Basong, and your bro,
Justin Galdames Lazo, and welcome to the Casual Conversations podcast.
I was going to say welcome back to another episode, but it's our first episode, so, history in the making here. And I think for the first episode, we have to talk about the most important thing when it comes to IB. What is it? Justin, what is IB?
Exactly. Okay, so IB stands for International Baccalaureate. It's basically like AP, but British, and we do a lot of papers, and we do a lot of writing, and it's kind of beneficial for your GPA. So that's my Cliff Notes version of it. Felix, any more intel on it?
You want to talk about GPA? IB is super beneficial for your GPA. I mean, the weight on some of these grades is actually insane. I like the way you described it, though. AP, but British. Yeah, that's definitely something that becomes apparent, especially when you're reading the textbooks and they have you when they spell the word color. Who spells color with a U? I mean, I do, but
yeah, I think that's pretty stupid.
I've become accustomed to it. Oh.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty stupid, but it's okay. We all have our gripes with the IB, but when it comes to the actual benefits of it, there's a lot of stuff that really helps out with the IB, and there's a lot of difficulties as well. So today, we're going to go over the general, shtick of IB. So if you were to summarize IB in one sentence, what would you say?
Insanely brutal is what I'd say. You see what I did there?
Okay.
IB, insanely brutal.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
The workload for IB can definitely get hard at times, especially being a full diploma student. That's sort of why we created this podcast, isn't it? In order to help people and impart some knowledge on the future IB students, because we're so gracious and we don't need this for a cast project at all.
Not at all. But what we're doing is basically trying to impart knowledge. We're trying to get you guys on the right track so you don't end up like these two idiots here who have not had the optimal IB experience. I'd say that we could have done some things better. So we're going to hope that you guys implement the stuff that we're telling you here. So let's introduce ourselves more formally. I'm Justin. I am a full IB diploma student, obviously. And I guess my favorite IB class that I've taken is Environmental Systems and Societies. That's my number one class. Felix?
Hi, my name is Felix Basong. I'm also a full diploma IB student, and my favorite IB class is also Environmental Systems and Societies. So we're getting we're getting a real range of classes here for discussion. Yeah. But look, here's the thing. If you're listening to this and you are a Brook Point student, the likelihood is ESS and some other IB electives aren't going to be heard or available for you. And if you're reading this in your, oh, wait. That's even better, actually, because if you're reading this in the future, in the far, far future, 3-4 years from now, you're likely traveling to Mountain View. Hopefully they have an ESS program there, but what we want to talk about is specifically with IB scheduling and how you don't always get what you want. Justin, could you enlighten us?
Yeah, let me give you an anecdote of my, elective experience. Since Brook Point's IB diploma was/is pretty small, we did not have enough students for the IB business class that I wanted to take. So we didn't end up getting that. And I didn't end up getting the IB economics class that I wanted to take either. So I ended up taking IBSS, and even though it wasn't what I put at all, it was actually still my favorite IB class of all time. So I think there's a lot of merit in getting things that you don't like sometimes. But at Mountain View, I feel like you might have a better chance of getting the things that you want to get just because it's a bigger program. And for those listeners out there who are not from our area, it's all case by case. But I hope that you do get what you want from the IB.
And speaking of that, just speaking about programs in general, I think that's one of the great things about IB It gives you that world view, the sense of learning, because everything you're learning is getting taught to students all around the world. And when we say all around the world, we mean from Richmond, Virginia to London, England. That's the first city I could think of. But genuinely, it's not just British people that are doing IB. We promise. There are other countries, France, Belgium,
Ireland.
Switzerland, everywhere is doing it. And that's what's so great about it. It gives you a sense of worldly knowledge while still being able to just be in your high school.
So yeah, we talked about some of the pros of IB, but what's your biggest con? Do you think?
I think the biggest con is, okay. Let me set a scene for you. There is nothing I hate more than going into an IB class and at the beginning of the year, the teacher sits you down with a stern look on their face and they're like, "All right, listen, class. What I'm gonna teach you in this year, other students get 2 whole years to learn it." I hate that so much because there's so much pressure. Every single time they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have to do what they do in 2 years in 1 year, then take the exact same test as them." I don't
No,
want to
it's so
say
crazy.
I don't want to say it ruins like my mindset going into that class, but after that, I like a switch flips in my head where I'm like, okay, all right, well, clearly I'm not gonna learn everything.
There's a lot of classes like that, or for almost every single one of my electives, I think is like that. But yeah, it's kind of stressful. I think my biggest con is gonna be the next 2 weeks of my life because it's exam season, and I have
Exams.
an exam every single day, sometimes two, for the next 2 weeks of my life. So it's gonna be probably the biggest con of the entire program, and
At,
you're doing it too, so it's
at
gonna be
least
hell.
we're not French students who have to. On the day of our final IB party, they're taking an exam in the morning. Sucks for them, not us. We picked better
Sucks for them.
languages, Latin and Spanish.
Yeah, I took Spanish because I speak Spanish, and Felix took Latin because it doesn't even exist. So yeah,
Yeah,
pretty.
that's not why I took it. I took Latin because it's an important language for someone who wants to go into the law or medical field, which I'm going into neither
Uh,
of. But okay, so now
yeah.
that we've talked about a little bit of the pros and cons, let's talk about what the actual IB schedule would look like. Because we're assuming that if you're listening into this podcast, that you're not in your freshman or sophomore year, when you're not even actually taking IB classes. You're likely in your junior or senior year. Here's what we can tell you: at least for junior year of IB, you're probably not gonna have to do any IB test. Maybe one test for your elective, but brother, when I tell you, tests become a lot more stressful senior year. So here's what our best advice would be. Okay? I think for junior year at least, the most important thing that you can do is just do a whole bunch of casts. Like we haven't talked into cast yet, but when we do, you understand why junior year is the time when you have the most free time to do everything you need to do. If you can get your cast project done junior year, oh, you are sitting pretty.
You're golden. So yeah, that's not what happened to us. We were not very smart, and we decided to put off our cast project until I'm not gonna say it's last minute, but
It's not
we do have a
last
time
minute.
crunch.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a time crunch
but
here,
that's
so
when the
don't
magic's
be like
made.
us. Junior year, I was cruising. I was just kind of like I took 8 IB classes. So did Felix. We had the exact same schedule, I think,
Pretty
to almost a
much.
T.
Pretty much, yeah.
And yeah, no, that was interesting. And then we also had to do rarely any exams. I think we did 2 exams. But yeah, it's lighter,
It's
except for the EE, which we'll get to. But
we will get to. But now that look, you talked about like a little bit about the workload, a little bit what the classes look like, CAS and all that. Let's explain what all these terms actually are. What is CAS, Justin?
so CAS stands for Creative Activity Service, which doesn't make sense as an acronym at all. But what it is basically like a supplemental like extracurricular activities that you need to do and then write about for your diploma. So it's easy in theory. As long as you do it, really, you'll be fine. But what it comes down to is doing things outside of school, mostly. And they can be really fun too, but they can also be like, eh.
Yeah, a lot of it when it comes to CAS isn't necessarily doing the activity. It's more just about how you write it, because there are so many things that you will. I promise you, it'll become a reoccurring joke or a reoccurring theme in your friend groups, in your classes, where you'll do something, you'll think to yourself, how can I castify this? Oftentimes, the answer is you can't. But there are certain activities, like when we went to George Mason University on a field trip, Cassified it. When I went to the National Aquarium in Maryland for the first time, Cassified it.
I bake
Oftentimes,
cookies.
Justin baked cookies. Oftentimes, things that don't even seem like they could be classified as cast can be, but it just comes down to how you present it, what you learned, and how you grew from it.
Yeah, that's pretty succinct summary of CAS, but we're gonna get more in depth on that in a future episode. So let's move on to the next biggest thing. Well, not biggest, but next thing in the IB agenda, and that is the EE. Now, what does that mean,
And we're back.
Felix? So, Felix, okay, technical difficulties. Felix, explain what an EE is.
So, like we were saying, an EE is your extended essay, and what that is essentially is a culmination of all your hard work and proof that you've actually learned something in theory of knowledge. It's showing your researching abilities on a subject of your choice. For my extended essay, I wrote about ocean acidification in coastal cities.
Super interesting stuff, Felix.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the EE is one of the better things you can do because it's something you can actually choose to write about. And like with all the IAs and other papers you write, it's kind of limited in that you have to do something about the class, obviously. So for TOK's EE, it's much more open-ended. You can do it in a really fun way too. I saw the Mountain View kids, and they wrote about like Peter Pan and stuff, and I thought that was like really cool. And then mine is really boring because I wrote about drug cartels and like politics. So I don't know how like lenient they are with the topics, but you can get really creative with your EE, and it can be really fun if you do it right.
Yeah, what I want to say is that, like Justin had mentioned, your EE doesn't have to be something that you try and do to look smart or sound smart. I definitely fell into that. Here's what I want to say: do something you're interested in, because you have to write a lot of words about it. So if you get bored
4,000.
halfway, 4,000 words about it. If you get bored halfway through, it'll show in your writing. Is what I want to say. I thought ocean acidification would be a very interesting topic for me, and it was. And my sponsor was great. Speaking of which, you have to have a teacher sponsor who supervises your writing. But here's the thing: would I have preferred to write 4,000 words about Arthurian legend per better? I mean, yeah, sure I would have. And that's what I wish I did. The EE,
Yeah.
I cannot stress enough, is yours. It's the one thing in IB that you get to control. So control it. Control it, control it,
Yeah.
control it.
Do something that you want to do, make it fun, or else you're going to spend 4,000 words writing about drugs, going across countries, and it's going to be a little bit of a pain. Like, for example, one of our classmates did their whole entire EE on Studio Ghibli films, and I'm sure they had a lot of fun with that, and their EE was probably better because of it, because they actually enjoyed the topic. But yeah,
Better.
oh yeah, I think I didn't read it. I don't know. But
Joking, M dog, joking. She's not gonna listen
yeah,
to this. It's okay.
shout out to M Dog if she's listening. But yeah, your EE can be really fun if you have a passion for the topic. So yeah, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time on that in the first half of your IB experience. You're gonna be spending like I think like 2 quarters we spent writing that essay.
Yeah.
And yeah, research is really important. We're gonna have a whole entire episode about how to research for not only your EE but everything else, because research is a pretty big component of this program. So yeah, research
Another big
and
important
dedication.
component of IB and the program in general is your IA, or your internal assessment.
So your internal assessments are kind of like your EE for all your other classes. Obviously not 4,000 word long, but each IA is different. Each IA is specified for your class, and some of them are really hard, and some of them are really easy. Felix, what do you think was your favorite IA out of all of them?
My favorite IA, or okay, this one, favorite might be a stretch because I don't have a favorite for any of these IAs. Favorite makes it seem too positive of a light, honestly. But the IA that I would willingly write about again was 100% my history IA. I wrote about,
Really?
yes, because it was concerning. This is us geeking out about Model UN a bit, completely separate. But it was also relating to my Model UN topic at the time, Patrice Lumumba. I wrote about the
Oh,
Congo
it's
crisis. Yeah, and it was just so interesting. I think history is one of my favorite subjects, and just doing that like deep dive, it's just so deep,
Yeah,
so
no,
interesting,
that's so deep, so
so
interesting.
mysterious, so
I
aura.
I don't know why I asked that question honestly, because I don't think I have a favorite IA. But if I was to say one that was like favorite in terms of like writing process, it's got to be my math IA because I
There we go.
wrote about One Piece and I basically did a power scaling video as an essay. And I don't know how good I'm gonna score on that, but I did it and it was fun.
I think
So
for my math
yeah, that's
IA,
probably
I
my
did
favorite.
I investigated how likely a school is to go over budget based on past projections, and
I have
I
no idea. How do you even do that?
okay. Well, we can talk about that for the math IA portion. I'll even bring up my math IA if I have to. But I started uncovering like I got too deep into it. Like it was deep state type stuff. I went to the public records
Wow.
office and I was talking to them and they wouldn't give me certain files. It was all just got so shady.
Yeah,
And
no, there's some some dark. We're gonna get
and
taken
that's
down
what
real big
happens.
for.
That's what happens when you
Hey,
put in because look, you want to fall in love with your IA, and that's a weird way to phrase it, but it's the
that's a
truth.
weird.
It's the truth. It's the truth. You wanna because if you don't like that's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to write about this for so long. It's gonna be so much work. If you don't enjoy the topic you're doing, with the very limited amount of control you have in IB, you want to take the easiest way possible. Be like water. Take the path of least
Yeah,
resistance.
at least resist. Make sure you're not, torturing yourself with some really niche topic because you want to look cool. If you do have a niche topic because you actually like it, then go for it. Go for it. But try to keep it simple. Make sure you're not doing anything crazy. And some IAs, I want to point out, for your science classes, you're gonna have to do an experiment, and you're gonna have to spend a decent amount of time, doing your experiment. And so make sure you're planning that out and actually like, working on that early so you're not doing a time crunch.
I
Like
will
for
say,
example, I spent an entire night working with dirt for my ESSIA because I put it off for so long.
yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I will say, I think the best piece of advice I got from any teacher about the IA was actually from our math teacher, where he was saying, look at the rubric. Look at the rubric and figure out how you can try and game the system because there's a very likelihood that you won't get a perfect score on your IA. But what you can do is get scores where you need them, specifically in organization or formatting and things where it's just
True.
basically following what they say to do word for word. Like instead of using Comic Sans, you use Arial or Times New Roman.
Yeah, try to scrape out as many points as you can. As a reminder, or as an introduction, I guess, you're gonna get a score based 1 to 7 for each of your assessments. Now that includes the exams and the IA. Those add up and are averaged to give you a score for the entire class, and then all your scores from all your classes add up, and if you get a certain amount, that's how you get your diploma. So you want to score well in your IA because you're not it's not like a paper where you have to just walk in, take an exam, and leave. You get time at home to write this thing. You get feedback. You get a lot of support on your IA. Whereas your papers, you're just in that room and you're done. So speaking of papers, Felix, you want to introduce the concept of papers to everybody?
Okay, yeah, that would be the third major part, I guess you could say, of your entire IB grading score. Because, like just mentioned earlier, IB is really just AP but British. You still have to take that dreadful, all-knowing test
Yeah.
at the end of the year, and that's exactly what these papers are. They're papers that
And
grade you on, your knowledge.
yeah, and guess what? It's not just like AP but British because there's 2 or 3 papers for each class.
Okay,
So
don't
it's kind of
don't,
like
don't scare them too much. There's only one class that has
on.
three papers, and that's history.
Okay, okay. History has 3 papers. No, wait, that's not correct.
Really?
English has technically has 3 papers
Oh,
because the
brother.
HLS.
Technically,
Yeah,
technically has three papers.
yeah. Okay, I think it depends on if you're in an HL class or an SL class, but for the most part, you're gonna be doing 2 papers. So
And
sorry
if
to
you're
scare everybody,
doing
but yeah,
HLIB, more power to you.
yeah. More power to go for it, man. We're not doing that. We're not
I, I,
but
I
yeah, your
want to say,
papers are your yeah.
I want to say it's because our schedule and our IB class is just too small that we couldn't do it. But even if it was an option, I'm staying far away from it.
No. Yeah, HL classes give you the benefit of they're called higher level classes for context, but they give you the benefit of giving you more credits when you go to college, I think. But they're also like they're called HL because you put an E between the H and the L and then add an L at the end. So yeah, don't stress yourself out. Don't go too crazy, and they don't even provide a better GPA boost, right? So take
Yeah,
that into
but
account.
what did our math teachers always say? It's not about the grades. It's about learning. It's about knowledge, and it's
It's
about
about knowledge.
TOK.
Speaking about knowledge,
we're
yeah.
both we're both transitioning to
Yeah.
the next topic. TOK.
TOK.
Uh,
So, what are your thoughts on TOK, Felix? What do you think?
my thoughts are: what is a thought? What does it mean to
Oh
think?
God.
What does it mean to even conceive and conceptualize individual processing? That's the
Yeah,
type of
that's
questions
exact.
you learn in
That's
TOK.
TOK. That's basically all you do in TOK, other than the EE. The EE is a major portion too. You spend a lot of time on that. But otherwise, you're in TOK, you sit down, and you're like, am I even real?
Yeah,
And you do that for like an hour, and then yeah, that's TOK.
when I first took theory of knowledge, or at least saw it on my schedule, I thought it was going to be a class where I learned how to learn, and in there's a lot of ways it is, but I guess more theory of knowledge is, or at least for us, was a place to not only kind of reflect, but I consider it the only possible safe haven from the rest of your IB schedule. I think that's where
Especially
people.
in your senior year.
Oh yeah, especially in your senior year. Look, if there's any teacher you want to get on the good side of, it's your TOK teacher. TOK, it could either be the best or worst class of your life, and thankfully we
Yeah,
have a
I've seen a
great
lot of
TOK
people.
teacher.
Yeah, we have a very great teacher. How TOK works for us now in this like last leg of the program is it's basically study hall for all of us.
Hmm.
But previously, there was things to do. So there's the EE. There's other things for TOK as well, like the exhibition and what was that other thing? The TOK essay. Yeah. So there's three things you have to do. There's some substantial work there, but if you're able to make it somewhere where you're like compressing from everything else because TOK on paper is one of the easiest IB classes of all time. It's pretty unique in that way.
Keywords on paper. If we can, I feel like we're getting a bit too caught up in zooming in. Let's zoom out a bit on what IB teaches you outside of school, specifically when it comes to life skills.
Okay, so well, one thing for me, I think, is that it teaches you how to make sure you're planning. I mean, I learned the hard way because I didn't plan for a lot of things, and it really bites you. And so it really teaches you how to be, mindful of what you're doing, how you're allotting your time, and then moving forward with that. And obviously, it teaches you how to deal with failures as well because you're not going to get a seven on every single paper you take, and that's just a given. And a lot of IB students coming into IB, they're like A plus, completely 100% students. Never failed a test in their life. Now you're gonna fail something probably at some point, so it teaches you how to take that loss.
Yeah, I think IB. I was gonna say IB teaches you how to be a failure. No, it prepares you to be a succeeder. But honestly, IB, yeah, it definitely humbles you a bit. And it's not so much it humbles you in the sense where you're not capable of getting full marks in any IB class. You definitely are. But it humbles you in the sense that you realize you're not capable of being phenomenal at everything. And I think for a lot of people, what IB will either do, because we had a lot of people, I don't know if you remember this, but not a lot of people, we had enough people drop out of IB, or at least the full IB program.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
No,
think
there's a lot of people who dropped out. Yeah.
and I think that's just because IB, like, it makes you realize that, like, either this pressure, like you can take it on and like want to, I don't want to say strive to like do more, but like it pushes you into the fire of high scholarly academic lifestyle, and it kind of
Yeah.
forces you to realize like either this is it for me or this isn't it for me, and you can pursue another avenue, or you can say, man, I really, 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 really want the next 2 years of my life to be difficult,
Yeah.
insanely brutal.
So really, really brutal if you continue going through it. But at the end, you're gonna come out better prepared for college than a lot of people. So you're gonna go into college and you're gonna be like, phew, I'm done with the last 2 years of my life. Here's a break year essentially. Because the first year of college, when you're going into there, you're gonna be already trained, kind of psyoped into, you're like a winter soldier kind of. You're like already into habits of planning out your stuff, making sure your assignments are good, and you've already taken the difficulty, so you're already, you know, kind of accustomed to that college language that they use on the papers and all that. But it also teaches you how to fail, like we said, and you'll be ready for any potential difficulties you find in college. So I think it really prepares you for college.
Yeah.
And yeah,
We've heard a lot of testimonials from teachers and about their past students who message them and reach them out, which I don't think I've heard from any other teacher in any normal class about past students like reaching out just to tell them how much their class, or particularly IB in specific, prepared them for the next level, which is obviously college level work and college level class loads. And
yeah,
that mindset that you get, like Justin was saying, college readiness, it's so important because as hard as it is now, having that next stage, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if you get pushed into the fire of IB now, the spark of college just burns a little less. Isn't that poetic?
yeah.
Is that TOK like?
That's something you're cooking there. And I want to touch on another thing is that your teachers are going to be so freaking smart. It's crazy. They really know their stuff, and if you're able to use that to your advantage and, you know, get ahead of the curve, you know, a lot of teachers have office hours that they have outside of school, or just talking to them in general. You'll learn a lot, and you'll get, you know, really good information from them that you can maybe potentially use for whatever you're doing in college. So I think you can specify yourself to like your major, whatever you want to do. You don't have to know what you want to do, but you can find something you want to do through the program and be
Yeah,
more like prepared on exactly what you want to do, not just the doing part of it.
definitely, definitely. But speaking about that mindset's not something that you just gain. It's something that you have to learn and pick up through lots of experiences, and especially lots of failures and lots of that dangerous word, procrastination.
Ooh, you finally brought it up after whatever 20 minutes of
I
this
was
podcast. Yeah,
procrastinating. I was procrastinating. I didn't want to
on the
bring it up.
procrastination. Wow, I didn't want to bring it up either, so I'm glad you did. Procrastination. What is it? Why is it bad? Shoot.
Procrastination is something that's going to happen to even the best of us. It's when you have something that you know you should do, but sometimes either your phone's just calling you a little too much, or the gym's calling you a little too much, or anything else is calling you just a bit too much, and you push it off till the very last minute. It's why all your assignments are due 11:59, because the teacher know you and you know you. You're not going to be doing it until 11 because you're used to that. You're really smart kids, and you're pushing yourself even more than you normally do, but you're used to having all your work be easy. And it's not so much that the work in IB is so impossible you can't keep your normal system. It'll burn you out because there's so much of it.
Yeah. And there's something that we're going to cover in a later episode when it comes to like your schedule and your routine and what you're doing to evit procrastination. But it's the killer, man. It just ruins your mentality, and honestly, your mental health can get really deteriorated from just straight procrastination. So we're going to go over later on how to deal with that. But in the end of IB, you're either going to come out feeling like you just conquered the world because you finally completed all your papers, or you're going to be feeling defeated because of just the way that you used your time. So you want to make sure you're using your time. But even if you do stumble, there's always, you know, the summer break after you're done, and you can like reflect on everything and think about how to move on forward. And there's always that lesson you can learn. And even if you don't procrastinate, there's always, you know, that failure aspect that we're talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So make sure you're mindful of your time. That's what's going to teach you the most, I think.
And speaking of things you can rely on when you're feeling down, community. Let's talk about the community that's built in an IB classroom. As much as I hate to admit it, IB has made me IB has made me make friends, okay? IB, when you are in an IB curriculum with the classes, it's different in Mountain View because they have a bigger class. Brook Point, specifically with the fact that you guys will all be traveling on the same bus, or traveling at least for your first year when you don't have cars as juniors yet. You'll all be traveling together, taking TOK together, classes like that together. IB builds an insane sense of community, and be it for the good or the bad, you will become closer with the people in your IB class and pretty much any of your other friends, because you will see these people every single day for every single class. I think one person in IB, we won't name names because I don't think we're legally allowed to, but we'll just call her E-Dog. I had seven
Yeah.
of my eight classes with her for my entire IB year, and we still can't tell whether we like or hate each other, but we definitely, we definitely are friends and have that sense of community.
Yeah, we had I think 7 out of 8 last year. This year, thankfully, it's a little lower. So
Thankfully.
some space. Some space is important when you're with these people that you're gonna be around a lot. You want to make sure you're setting your boundaries. You want to make sure you're making sure you know how they feel and how you feel at a certain day. Because everybody has off days, especially with this program. It's gonna be difficult. People are gonna walk in on 2 hours of sleep and don't want to talk to anybody. Happens a lot. What you want to do is make sure you're open minded, you're ready to deal with those situations, make sure you're having fun, and I promise you, you're going to be fine. It's not going to go awry if you have so many friends that are close to you. It's a good thing, obviously, but you want to make sure that you're setting your boundaries, having your space, making sure that you're ready for those bad days if they
Yeah.
do come.
Speaking of boundaries and space, I mean, there is no one that you can rely on more than an IB kid to reaffirm you about not having done something yet. I think there's been so many times where I haven't even started on work, and I would look over at my friend. Sometimes I've done this with Justin, sometimes I've done this with other people, but I look over them and be like, oh, that one assignment in language and literature, I haven't even started. And they'll be like, dude, you haven't even started? I haven't even made a document yet. And I think just that shared sense of someone who understands what you're going through with the IB curriculum and schedule, it just helps so, so, so much.
Yeah, there's nothing like 11:59 on the day that a bio paper, or sorry, bio IA is due, and nobody has finished it. It's absolute chaos. It's definitely something to see. But at the end of it, I feel like everyone gets a little closer to each other. I feel like our cohort's pretty small, so we have a little bit more cohesion there. But no matter the size of your, you know, cohort, I feel like you'll find friends. You'll be all right. You'll make like a fun group to hang around, and your community is gonna be top notch. You guys are gonna have
Yeah.
fun, and I think what helps is to try to hang out outside of school sometimes with people.
Mm.
Not make it so academic based because sometimes you're so caught up in the GPAs, the assignments, all the studying that you lose some of the fun. So I think like that one time that we had the IB basketball bonanza.
Ah, the IB basketball
stuff like
bonanza. Back in my
stuff like
day.
that. I shot a three and I hit it, and Felix did not hit a three at all.
Whose
So
team won again? Ooh, exactly.
uh,
That's another thing
there's
we should probably
there's
talk about. With community comes competitiveness. We've heard it from our IB
oh
teachers. I haven't seen it personally, but I know that a lot of IB classes can get pretty toxic when it comes to competitiveness, when it comes to grades, just overall classwork, and maybe it comes with bigger sizes where you're not likely to like everyone, or maybe we just got lucky. But here's what I can say from a personal perspective. You have way too much work to be getting caught up in all that drama, okay? Focus on your
yeah,
grades.
no,
Lock
yeah,
in.
walk in. What are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? Don't get caught up in the oh, she's valedictorian. Oh, I'm not valedictorian. Who gives a flying fudge?
Watch your language.
Yeah, I'm watching it,
We're a PG
but
podcast.
doesn't. Yeah, we're a PG
Me
podcast.
and Justin, we're in
But what
college
matter?
now. We're graduated probably at the
What?
time you're listening to this. No, by the time you're listening to
Yeah.
this, we're
Okay.
we're, we're
Yeah. Yeah.
we're so above this. And like what we can say, being grown adults, is that none of this is going to matter in a couple years. Focus on your college apps. Focus on getting into a good college, because like in 2 years, you won't ever see these people again. So even if you have to like live with them and just be frustrated, realize that in the scope of your entire life, it is 2 years where you are letting this person affect not only your grades but your social life. That's not good.
Don't be like that. And another thing is, it doesn't even matter because colleges look at IB like it's already done. When they see you apply and you say, "Oh, I'm taking all these IB classes," they don't care if you pass those exams or not because the exam scores come out after you're already admitted. They come out in the summer. You're admitted whenever you're admitted within the school year.
That is
So
true.
don't get caught up in like, I'm gonna get a bigger score than you. It doesn't matter.
No
All that matters is
college.
you have the class on your thing and your actual grade, of course. But
No,
that comes down to your work.
no college is gonna come back and be like, oh yeah, we accepted you, but then you got like a 3 on your anthropology IA. Oh,
Get him out.
sorry.
Get him out.
Yeah,
Get him
financial
out.
aid taken away.
No,
No
it's not
college is
gonna happen
doing
like
that.
that.
We promise you.
Yeah, don't get caught up in that. There's a lot of worries that you're gonna have in this first year or your senior year too. For you seniors, there's gonna be a lot of worries you're gonna have. Just keep working, do your homework, keep it in on time, have a routine. We're gonna go over more in depth in the future episodes on what exactly you need to do for these specific topics. But as a general oversight, just stay diligent. Don't get caught up. Don't get worried because it's all gonna be over in like a year or 2 years, and then you're done, and you get to go to college, and it's gonna be way, way, way better because it's gonna be your choices. You're gonna have a much less structured day, and you can actually have some freedom because IB is like a prison cell for 2 years.
I've seen what some of the IB seniors have been getting up to in college. The ones that go to UVA, William and Mary, other Virginia schools like that. When I tell you, I like there's one in particular. My brother, and I'm gonna say his name because I don't care. He's not gonna sue me. Dimitri. I've never seen him smile in a photo until he got to college. But now he is like cheek to cheek, ear to ear, smiling all the
Bro's
time.
cheesing it up.
Just because
Yeah,
he's like God, he's done with it. Like I promise you, if you stick with the IB, you will never realize just how happy and abundant life can be once it's over.
which sounds like we're like really making IB sound bad here. But trust me, you'll. It's like
It's like hard work
the
that
the
pays
sword.
off.
The sword does not get forged unless it goes through the fire.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So become a sword.
Become. Wait, no, no, no. Become a pen because the pen is mightier than the sword, and you have to use pens on all your papers. So start using
Oh
pens.
yeah, no, that's true. Start writing in pen because you're gonna have to write in pen for your papers.
Handwriting is very important, so we've heard.
Yeah.
IB graders,
So we've heard.
because the thing with IB graders is, I know we're getting a little bit off topic, but with IB graders, from what we've heard, or at least from what I've heard, is that they get paid not by the hour, but by paper.
By paper.
So they won't
Yeah.
bother trying to figure out what your handwriting says. They'll just say, "All right, can't read it," and then not give you anything for it. So get good with writing the pen, and yeah, I think
Yeah, I think let's conclude, I guess. To summarize, we talked about the major aspects of the IB, pros, cons, some funny stories, the compliments that you get from IB being like community, college readiness, general life skills, and yeah, we hope that you stick with the program, keep it going. And Felix, any last remarks?
um any last remarks? I I I don't know. I was like, 'cause here's the thing with IB. There's no pop quizzes, right? But
Oh yeah,
I have a little bit of a personal grudge with IB. I don't know if you feel this way too, but I just think there's way too many acronyms.
oh yeah, no, there is. And to say that, it reminds me, I created a list of every single acronym that the IB uses, and I want you to guess every single one and see if you can actually, know your stuff, if you're qualified to talk on this podcast.
I just said there's no pop quizzes.
Well, there's a pop quiz now.
Okay,
I'm gonna
fine. We can do a
start
little
with
game time. I don't know if we have any sound effects like do, 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 do. Someone play the
You don't have
Kahoot
to
sound.
make the sound effect. You don't have to make the sound.
Um.
Okay,
Okay.
let's go through the general ones first, right?
All right,
Your
hit me with
question
them.
number one: what does PYP stand for?
What did you just say to me?
PYP. What's that stand for?
Party your pants. Party your pants off.
Oh.
O is silent.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, no, that's completely wrong. Primary years program.
Yeah. No, I knew that, but like I didn't think, like I thought it was so obvious that you didn't want me
What
to
do
say
you
the obvious answer.
Now, do you want to know what that means?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I would like
this
to.
is like this is not specified to Broke Points program or any program in the United States for that matter. It is essentially IB for children.
Okay, how would I know
For
that?
me to ages 3 to 12. Ages 3 to 12.
That's what I missed out on.
Yeah,
So if any of you are
All right.
doing IB for ages 3 to 12, dude, are
Um,
you like
Standard.
no, like they're in college right now probably, right? They're one of the people who got into college at 15.
Oh
Congratulations.
yeah,
Congratulations first of all.
yeah. It was nice seeing you at Harvard.
Yeah, maybe
Okay,
maybe
here's another one. Here's another one. I want to see if you know this one.
Okay.
Okay, A-OK. What's
Area of
A-OK?
knowledge. Ooh. Fast
Ooh,
one with that
you knew
one.
it.
Yep. Yep.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, good. We'll go over what that means on the TOK episode, but that one's a fun one. All right, how about this one? RQA.
Okay. I'm gonna guess that the R stands for research.
Oh, okay.
Am I close? Am I
Not,
on the
not
pulse?
spot on, spot on, spot on.
Okay. RQA. Q has to stand for question.
Okay, are you on the document?
I don't have access to this document, I swear. But A has to stand for that doesn't make sense. Research question answer. Research question answers.
No,
Dang it. I
no,
was
you
close.
fumbled it.
I was close.
Assessment, assessment.
Research question
Oh,
assessment. Okay. Okay, that was gonna be like my top 5, top 15 guess.
okay, okay. Yeah, top 15. That counts. What about B and M?
B and M or B
Yeah,
and M?
no, B and M.
Okay, that's not even an acronym. That's just 2 letters.
Yeah, well, it stands for something.
Okay. B and M. Um. Well, funnily enough, we actually have an IB group chat called Guys, Games, and Grades. I'm thinking that this stands for Boys and Men. Boys and Men of IB.
Boys and men.
Of IB?
Boys and men of IB.
Yep, it's like
No,
a.
business and management, dude.
Ah.
Business and management.
Saying it out loud. Okay, okay. Well, we can do that for anything. All right. Okay. How about I have an acronym for you? What is What is M and A stand for?
M and A.
Yeah.
Uh, M and A. Is it a class?
You get hints. You don't get hints.
Does this have to do with the IB at all?
Of course it does.
Um, multicultural anthropology.
See, that's what TOK does to you. TOK gets you to have answers like that. Math analysis. Math and analysis.
Math analysis. Oh, okay. So actually, you're completely wrong on that one. The acronym for that class is Math AA.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
So
goodness.
analysis and applications. Yep. How about this one? This is under general IB acronyms. CP. What does that one stand for?
It has okay. Look, I don't acronyms. What even is an acronym? Can I TOK my
You're
way out of this?
you can't. You
Okay.
can't.
Skip then. Skip this one. Skip it.
Skipping career related program.
Career related programs. So it doesn't even have.
The R is silent. Yeah, the R
Yeah,
is
because
silent.
you can't do CR. Okay.
Okay, how about this one? This one's good.
Give me an easy one.
What is the what is the DP core? I'll give you a hint. It's 3 things. The DP core.
The DP core.
Yeah, the DP core.
Respect, honesty, integrity.
You're thinking of our learning outcomes.
Oh.
It's not that nebulous. It's not one of those.
Um. Okay. Can I phone a friend?
If you have a friend to phone,
Okay. Let's see. Um. Goodness gracious. If they don't pick up, this will be very embarrassing.
They're not gonna. It's like late in the night for
Well,
context for the viewers.
Yeah, but I need them to pick up because I've never needed their help more. Emma.
Uh,
Hello.
Okay, you're on the Brook Point Ivy Bros podcast, and I'm phoning in a friend, and I need your help.
Okay.
Okay, Justin, can you ask this question one more time?
Hello, Emma. I had to ask you one question. What is the DP core for IB?
What does that mean?
I have,
Like people?
yeah, that's what I'm asking you. What is the DP core?
Um, like in terms of what?
In terms of our program, what are the 3 core aspects of it?
Oh, wait, Emma, we know this. We know this.
Who is we?
Who is we?
Wait. The core programs, creativity. Is that one of them?
That's
I
one
was
of
going
one
to
of them.
say, I literally was
Wait.
going to say like ChatGPT.
Whoa.
Like procrastination.
No.
And
No.
Wait. Cass.
Cass is one of them. Cass is one
Okay.
of them.
wait, so what are the two that we have so far?
We only have one. It's
Yeah.
Cass.
Just so Cass, TOK,
Yeah.
Okay, one more.
Cass, TOK, and it's gonna be like learning, you know.
That you were so on track and then you're so off track.
Okay. Can we get a hint?
Yeah, it starts with an E.
Oh.
Extended essay.
Yeah, there
Ding,
you go.
ding, ding.
Boom.
Okay.
Winner,
Boom.
winner, dinner.
Thank
Good
you so
job.
much, Emma. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. Anything else to say to the future podcast watchers?
Stop watching this.
And we looked like we lost connection.
Technical
Unfortunately,
difficulties.
she had to go away for a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Shout out to Emma. Good
Shout
job.
out to her. I didn't think we'd actually
You
get any
really-
guests on this podcast.
She really carried you. She really carried you.
Carried me. I think I got half. I got one of those. One of those was me,
You said creativity.
and that was Cass. That led to the Cass that look.
You got like 1/9 of that.
Okay, well that's the thing with an IB paper. You can get like a 7 out of 33 and still get a 4 on a lot of your
That's
papers.
not true.
You can get
Like
a
half.
You can get like a 50% and still get a pass on your papers. That's how difficult these papers are because they don't expect you to know
Yeah.
all this stuff. A lot of the stuff they just kind of throw at you. But overall,
Well, that'll conclude our game section then.
that is the end of the game section, and after that, I guess that's the end of the episode. Wow.
Yeah.
We went over a lot today, and I think we're coming in at just 46 minutes. We know it's a lot, and there's going to be a lot more episodes to watch as well, but we're just here to help you help yourself, honestly.
Well, yeah. So this is a sign out from the Casual Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm your bro, Felix. Thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye.